Today I'm making a post about anal sex, which I am very well acquainted with. I've been doing it for many years, so I feel that I should be able to talk about it from my point of view. And I've actually become some sort of an authority because many people ask me in regards to it. You'd be surprised actually how many times I get asked that question, like, how do you do anal sex? What can I do? So I'm gonna make a post and just put it all out on the table. First and foremost, if you are not into anal sex, don't do it. But I would say keep an open mind because you never know. If you are in any way disgusted with any type of fecal matter, do not engage in anal sex because that is what happens. Every single human being poops. We're gonna put this out on the table. People poop, so get this out of your head, this whole illusion that people don't do that. Expect the worst and hope for the best. It's as simple as that. So I get a lot of people who are just curious but have no idea about it. People should be curious about it, and for many different reasons. Whether it's trying to find something new, whether people get off on something that is taboo. I'm gonna sit here and give you my opinion in regards to all that. What you have to remember about anal is not self-lubricated. It does not lubricate itself at all. Unlike the vagina, which does naturally lubricate itself. Lube is very key for anal sex, and you can never have too much lube. Lube is your friend. You can use silicone, you can use latex, there's hybrids, even more natural, using coconut oil. Coconut oil is actually my favorite type of lube to use because it's all natural. It doesn't hurt the body. Well, unless you're allergic to it, then stay away from it. It tastes good, it feels good, it does the job properly. The only drawback, coconut oil cannot be used with a condom. It'll actually break the condom. For whatever reason, it actually just tears it apart. I do recommend safe sex, but if you're with a significant other who you've been with a long time and you can trust, if you're going to take it in that bareback, you guys have actually been doing that, coconut oil is great. Silicone lube is actually really good. It's very slick. It's very consistent. The one drawback with silicone lube though is that it can stay in your system. If you use silicone lube, after you're done, go directly to the bathroom and flush it out. Some people are actually allergic to silicone, so try to find the kind of lubes that you know are good for you. And the only way to know is by trying it out. Another alternative is water-based. Water-based is actually a favorite for a lot of people. One thing about water-based lube is that it dries up very quickly. It doesn't stay slick like silicone lube. If you're not into that and it dries up too quickly and it ends up hurting, I would suggest using something else like silicone or coconut oil. Now, the one question that I get asked a lot is preparation. And by preparation, I mean, how do you clean out? There's a lot of different techniques in doing that. The main one to use is an enema. You can get it at a pharmacy, you can get it at a sex store. They come in many different packages. You can get the disposable enemas. If you're gonna use those types of enemas, you have to make sure that you flush out the solution that's inside. And the reason to flush it out is because it has a laxative. You want to avoid using that solution because you will be in for a very messy situation. So what you want to do is you flush it out, rinse it, make sure that all of it is not in there, and you use lukewarm water to fill it up, and rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. One thing with those type of enemas is that it takes a longer period of time to actually clean out, depending on your diet. It's not really putting in enough pressure to really get everything out. If you want something fast, if you want something quick, that's not the best thing to use, but it's still very effective. One of the popular ones that you can use are actually travel ones that you can get tube, and it has a couple of holes on top. They're easy to clean up. It works perfectly. The one that I actually recommend are the shower nozzles. These are the best. You can actually get them at a sex store, or you can go online and look them up. And these shower nozzles, just like I'm saying it, goes into the shower. It's a separate attachment, long tube, it's usually metal. Those are great because you can actually control the amount of water that is going inside, and it breaks up everything. And the amount of time that it takes to clean out is cut in half, as opposed to using the disposable ones or even the reusable enemas. Another thing to consider is your diet. Not saying that you need to change your diet, though everybody should have a healthy diet. If you want to have anal sex, you should know the right types of foods to have before anal sex if you are planning. If you're not really planning it and it becomes more spontaneous, it becomes very tricky. Knowing your diet and then knowing your bowel movements is very key, because if you know your bowel movements, you can pretty much kind of break it down into a math and say, okay, if I am going to defecate around this time, for certain, if I eat this amount of food, I can defecate around this time, and I should be good to go by the time I actually engage in anal sex. What kind of things can you eat? Now, some people I know will not eat anything, and that to me is a big no-no. One, you're not gonna completely go through your digestive tract within the hour. It doesn't happen that way. But you should always have something inside to give you energy and to give you strength, because anal sex is not something you can just do and like, oh, it's all good. No, it doesn't work that way. You need your energy, you need your strength. Even just eating light is really good, like eating fruits, eating vegetables, eating nuts, yogurts, basically anything that you can put inside that you can feel comfortable, that's not going to be heavy, and you're not going to have a bad consequence later on. Just figure out what works for you, what kinds of meals you can have, and really knowing your body. That's really what it comes down to, is knowing your body. One of the things about anal is when it comes to actually taking in the penetration. Will it hurt? The answer to that is yes. It can hurt in the beginning, especially if you're new. Practicing beforehand, practicing with yourself will minimize that kind of pain, and you can adjust yourself to it and know how you like to be penetrated, in what ways works for you. The things that I've actually recommended to people who I've engaged in sexual intercourse, when you are taking it, instead of actually breathing in, makes everything clench and super tight, will actually make it hurt. Right before you go in, you actually breathe in, and then when it goes in, you breathe out, and when you breathe out, it actually relaxes the muscle. It opens up, and you can better take the penis a lot better. For some people, it might be instant, and for some people, it takes a little time. If you are a top, it is important that you take your time with the person who's receiving your penis or your dildo. If you don't know how it feels like, you cannot just shove things in. It doesn't work that way. If you shove something in, you might get decked out. You have to be very receptive to your partner. Just talk it out and see what feels good and what doesn't. If your partner wants to do all the work, what I mean by that is actually just letting them take it and push themselves, thrust themselves onto it, let them do it. Be very supporting, be very comforting, make it as comfortable as possible, because if they are comfortable, then you will be comfortable and will have an amazing time. A lot of different things that people can use to loosen up. You can use fingers, you can use butt plugs, you can use dildos. What dildo works for you is up to you. Some people like to start out small. I would recommend starting out small just to get acclimated to having things going inside. If you're new to it, take your time, try something small, and see what works for you. And in today's modern age of sex, there are many different types of toys that people can use. They come in all shapes and sizes and different materials. They come in steel, they come in silicone, glass, all forms of things. And there's a lot of dildos that are so advanced, even the feel of it is super realistic. It's very soft to the touch, elastic feel that is very comfortable for anal penetration. Going to a sex store and asking the retailer, asking the person who works behind the desk to see what works. What would you recommend? Don't be embarrassed about doing that. They are there to help you out. They have heard every single thing in the book, so don't feel like you're gonna shock them in any way. Trust me, they've heard it all. They've experienced a lot. Ask questions in regards to what are the best products that they carry, are good for someone who's starting out, for someone who wants to take it to the next level, and doing the research. I mean, we have, in this day and age, the internet and Google. There's so much information out there when it comes to that. Great information that can make your experience really, really good. Butt plugs are good in that, they come in different sizes, and the objective of the anal plug is to actually help stretch out insides and keep it as is. Once it goes in, you have an object that's completely stretching it out and is keeping it open for an extended period of time. Some people will actually keep it there for a few minutes to half an hour to an hour. Some people will actually go and do their regular daily shopping, get that inside just to make sure that it's fully dilated. And if that works for you, by all means, do that. And if it doesn't, just take it easy, be comfortable in your bed, favorite lubricants, play with it, see what works. Include your partner too. You don't have to rush into anal sex right away. You can even make the experience of just practicing into something very fun, very sexual, where, hey, you know what? I'm not ready to take your penis. I'm not ready to take the full thrust of your dildo, but let's engage together in using toys and let's start stretching out. Let's work to that point. There's nothing wrong with that. You should not be embarrassed about that. Speaking of embarrassment comes the issue of poop. One of the biggest things that I've heard from people is, oh, I don't want to deal with that. I'm scared of poop coming out. On the other side, I freak out when I see poop. I don't want to smell it. I don't want to see it. The worst thing that you can do is embarrass the person who does have an issue. You're hoping an issue does not arise, but you cannot control that. The body is doing what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to defecate. No matter how much you clean out, sometimes, every now and then, you're not always going to get everything out. So it's important to not humiliate the person when it happens. Be very comforting, be very caring when it comes to that. Always have wipies, have towels, have all the safety barriers that you can possibly have next to you. Clean it up, do what you have to do. If you have to go to the bathroom and do another checkup, go ahead and do it. But it's important to have a safe place because you're engaging in something that's very intimate and for some people is very scary. And freaking them out, showing your disgust in regards to an accident happening is not gonna help. And if anything, that person might not want to engage in anal sex ever again, which is the worst thing because you should engage in it. I recommend it. Communicate with your partner, make sure that everything is cool and that if anything does happen, you are there for them in any way, shape, or form. Especially if the sex is spontaneous. If it wasn't planned, the likelihood of having a mess, it can happen. I would say it's more likely to happen. And sometimes in spontaneous sex, shoot, it can be as clean as a whistle. I had an ex-girlfriend who I was having sex with. She was on top of me and I was playing with her butthole and I noticed it was super wet. And I'm like, put her down and I went for it. She was very consenting about it. That's another thing, consent is key. Went in there, she took it like a champ. And baby, after we were done doing that, it was clean as a whistle. You never know. Anal sex is supposed to be a fun thing. It should not be looked at as a bad thing. It's actually surprising that in some places sodomy is illegal. I'm like, if you have two consenting adults engaging in something that they both enjoy, why should it be illegal? I don't get it. I want to be in a place where sex is positive, where everything is free for all, you can enjoy it, you can go buck wild, just have a great time, because that's what it's all about. There are many people who engage in anal sex who have experienced anal orgasms without touching themselves, without doing anything with their primary genitals. They've actually experienced an anal orgasm. Once you hit the prostate just right, they can literally come, they can literally climax without touching themselves. There are women too who actually experience anal orgasms. It's not just a male thing. It's definitely male and female. Hopefully I answered everything you wanted to know about anal sex. I'm sure I've missed something. I don't know. Sorry about that. Probably could have had a list of things to kind of go down, but I'm literally just going off the cuff. I'm talking from the heart. That's what you're gonna get. I'm sure you guys have actually been wondering about this awesome shirt. I thought it was appropriate to wear for this particular subject, considering it's an educational piece. Got this from my friend Reed Mihalko. You can actually get this shirt on his website called Read About Sex. It's a great website. He's actually a sex educator, an amazing sex educator, and actually he has a lot more information that I can possibly give you. He is the expert. I would definitely suggest going to his site. We'll put all his information down below. So tell me what you guys think. Let me know. Post your comments down below. If you have any questions in regards to it that I haven't answered, post your comments down below and I will answer them as promptly as possible. Subscribe, like, and share. And as always, I'll see you later. Eat your faith. Peace.